According to Kowalski, these multi-point, multi-user data sets, such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms, create this apophenic occurrence, this raising of the levels of synchronicity due to the algorithms and social connection that's experienced within these media platforms. And because we can project ourselves out, we will find that this territory is navigable and we can project our wants and desires upon this mimetic surface. So the question is it something to fool around with? Is it a game? Well, perhaps.
An alternate reality game, or ARG for short, is a type of interactive game which consists of puzzles, codes, and fake websites hidden around the internet, giving off the illusion that they are real. There are many different types of ARGs surrounding the internet, but the one thing they have in common is that they usually never tell you it's fake. It presents all the information as if it's real, and that it's actually happening in our world. The creators of these games usually keep it quiet and let the audience find all the clues themselves. When they're created, it's never announced publicly. The creator would usually just start their ARG and then leave a clue on a random website or a forum for someone to find and start investigating with their friends. These alternate reality games create a fine line between reality and fiction. Because of this, it makes you, the player, much more invested into figuring out each puzzle you come across during the game.
On this particular day, he was asking me about ascent, which is the ongoing evolution of the human being in their spiritual, magical, and even physical development, which is the ongoing and never-ending growth and development and evolution of the individual on all levels, all phases of his or her being. What we deduced from that meeting became the foundation of Become a Living God, of the entire work that we do, everything else built around it. And this is that there are three godlike powers. These three godlike powers are omniscience, the ability to know everything; omnipresence, the ability to be anywhere; and omnipotence, the ability to do anything.
Ascension is, at its core, about spreading your ideas of magic, and by extension, your view of reality itself, to the world at large, in hopes of elevating mankind to a higher state. What exactly that higher state is, no one can really say. Mages who have similar views on magic, known as paradigms, would gather together in groups called traditions. Naturally, traditions whose views didn't line up, or even worse, directly contradicted each other, didn't gel well with each other. Thus began the Ascension War. Though not in the form it takes in the modern day. See, the early Ascension War wasn't so much a war as a series of friendly rivalries between different traditions. Mages would meet, swap magical theories, and test those theories out to see which was better. Over time, however, these friendly rivalries became significantly less friendly. Mages became convinced that their view on magic was the right one, and any other method was wrong. An opinion that is demonstrably untrue, as evidenced by the centuries of contradictory paradigms coexisting peacefully, but prejudice marches on, and the bloody Ascension War we know today kicked off. For the next few centuries, the battle raged between the various traditions. In the midst of the fight, one tradition stood, more powerful and organized than the others: the legendary Order of Hermes. From their lofty thrones they sat, crushing dissenters one by one. An interesting thing to note about this time is that, opposed to the modern day, the Ascension War was fought very much in the open. This is because, in the older times, people believed more in superstition and magic, leaving the tapestry more malleable and easy to manipulate. As such, mages often ruled their domains openly, threatening magical retribution on those who crossed them, mage or mortal. However, everything changed around the time of the Renaissance, when society largely drifted away from the belief in the paranormal and began to focus more on the secular and scientific. As a result, mages who tugged too hard on the tapestry's threads risked incurring paradox. Paradox is essentially reality's way of retaliating against those who tamper with it too much. The effects of paradox are many, from the direct assault of backlash to the punishing madness of the quiet, a sort of magical insanity. In addition, a group of scientists and philosophers took note of the harmful effects of the Ascension War on mortal society and resolved to bring it to an end. Thus, in 1325, the Order of Reason was founded. The Order of Reason was significant in that it was one of the first attempts at rallying several magical traditions under one banner, and just as significantly, despite being mages themselves, the Order of Reason denied that what they did was anything other than science. Incredibly advanced science, certainly, but it all derived from experimentation and the scientific method. Having formally organized, the Order of Reason joined the Ascension War and proceeded to destroy its competition, wiping out any and all mages they came across. Practitioners from all sorts of traditions were wiped out as the Order of Reason carried out a mass genocide on anyone who claimed to be practicing magic. In the meantime, they also educated the common people on Enlightenment ideals. As well as endearing the mortal population to the Order's philosophies, this education also served to greatly reduce the amount of tampering a mage could get away with. Establishing an agreed-upon view of reality that shunned the idea of magic was known as the Consensus and was essential to the Order's strategy for winning the Ascension War. Eventually, 9 of the most powerful remaining magical traditions, including one of the original founders of the Order of Reason who weren't quite as behind the whole genocide thing, and the once high and mighty Order of Hermes, all met and decided that if they wanted to have a chance against the Order, they would need to form an alliance just as they had. Thus, the Council of the 9 Mystic Traditions was born. The Council and the Order have been the main players in the Ascension War since then, albeit they now operate under different names, with the Council of the 9 Mystic Traditions now just going by the Traditions, and the Order of Reason changing its name to the Technocratic Union, or the Technocracy, around the time of the Victorian era. As the centuries went on and the war continued, it soon became clear that with the Technocracy's embracing of modern technology and the use of the Consensus, the Traditions had no real chance of winning. Only the most subtle of spells could be cast without risking paradox, the Technocracy had eyes and ears in every city, and on top of that, in 1999, the awakening of an ancient vampire in India caused magical energy to flood the Earth and beyond, destroying the Traditions' largest base of operations and most of their most powerful mages. By 2001, the Ascension War was all but over. However, unbeknownst to the Traditions, the Technocracy didn't have it any better. Sure, the Consensus greatly weakened the power of the Traditions, but it also made the grand plans they had for humanity seem just as unbelievable. Despite their genocidal origins and Big Brother-esque attitude towards humanity, the Technocracy was ultimately trying to lead humanity to ascension, or as they called it, enlightenment. However, in the words of TV tropes, they were ultimately hoist by their own petard, and the idea of space colonization or immortality is as unbelievable to the masses as a wizard shooting a fireball. So, yeah, the Ascension War is basically over. The Traditions are powerless to stop the rise of the Technocracy, and the Technocracy is unable to help humanity in the same ways it once was. In the end, thousands of years of broken truces, bloody warfare, and mass genocide have all meant nothing.